Hello everyone! Today, we'll be seeing how fast Seismitoad can beat Pokemon Black in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. It was actually kind of hard to find a good Pokemon to pair this with, so on Friday we'll actually be playing the game with Conkeldurr. I kind of figured these two would be pretty similar. I know, for example, one of the early end fights uses both Tympole and Timburr, and they both can be found in similar routes. But anyway, let's talk about Seismitoad here. We have 105 HP, 95 attack, 75 defense, 85 special attack, 75 special defense, and 74 speed. We're also in the medium-slow leveling group, which actually kind of surprised me. We're actually going to be leveling up very fast in the early game, and the water-ground typing is honestly one of the most overpowered type combinations ever created. It's the same type combination of Swampert, and we're definitely going to be doing quite good. But let's see if our moveset's any good. And spoiler alert, it actually is quite decent, although kind of strange. We start with Bubble, Growl, Round, and Supersonic. And then at level 12 we get Bubble Beam, which is really nice to have. And then Mudshot at level 16, which will definitely help with the Electric Gym for sure. And then we get Aqua Ring, Uproar, Muddy Water, Rain Dance, Acid, Flail, Drain Punch, Echoed Voice, Hydro Pump, and Hyper Voice. Muddy Water is straight up just a worse version of Surf. The only difference is in double battles, Muddy Water does not hit your partner, but since it only hits the two opposing Pokemon, the base power will actually get split in half. I believe it's now 3/4 now, but that point aside, Surf is going to be way better, plus more accurate. And Drain Punch is actually going to be a very decent fighting move. It's the same effective power as Brick Break, and we get some healing out of it, so we'll definitely be using that move as well. But let's also look at the TM department. Our moveset is kind of strange for a water type. For example, we get no ice moves other than Hail, which is kind of surprising. Most water types get ice moves, but oh well, it's probably not going to be needed anyway. But some great moves that we do get are Earthquake, Return, Dig, Brick Break, Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb, Rock Tomb, Echoed Voice, Focus Blast, Scald, Bulldoze, Rock Slide, Poison Jab, and Grass Knot. Definitely some decent coverage despite the lack of ice moves, but we can definitely make it work. Also, if you take a look at the bottom part of the screen, we have the Rash nature, which is plus special attack minus special defense. I don't really want to lower any other stat, and generally Rash is kind of a safe nature. I want to make sure I use both physical and special attacks. Plus, our special attack is what we're mainly going to be using, but it's not our best stat, so boosting it by 10% will be nice. And we're actually using our hidden ability today, Water Absorb. This will give us a direct immunity to water type moves, and if we do get hit by one, it heals us. And the AI actually will not know we have this ability until it uses a water move at least once. And this is going to have some funny moments later in the run. With all that boring stuff out of the way, the early game goes pretty much the same as any other black and white run would go. I fight a couple early game trainers and make my way to Striaton City. And whenever you get here, you can actually choose to go fight Cheren right away and go fight the gym leader, or go into the Dream Yard to do some extra training. Technically, the trainers in the Dream Yard are mandatory anyway, but it's actually slightly more step efficient to do them after the gym, but I figured it didn't really matter for this run, and I went ahead and just fought them now. Plus, at the very end, I can get Pampor. Since I always replace the grass starter in my runs, this girl ends up coincidentally giving me a Pampor, so I immediately have a free Surf and Cut user. All of the elemental monkey Pokemon from Gen 5 are able to learn Cut, but only Pampor can learn Surf. If I didn't get Pampor, I would just have to catch a Tympole near Nacrene City, so that's not really that big of a deal. But anyway, with these trainers defeated, I go ahead and kick Cheren's butt, and then we can go take on the first gym leader, Chili. Chili leads off with his Lillipup. He usually likes to spam a couple of workups, so I go ahead and use Bubble Beam for the 2-shot. He does try to use a potion, but it does not save him in the end. Then on the Pansear, I'm sure it'll be a 1-shot, and it is. Yep, there we go, easy first badge. Since I always replace the grass starter, water types sort of have an advantage. grass types will have a disadvantage, and fire types really don't have a problem either way. I go back to the Dream Yard and rescue the Muna from Team Plasma, and then I go ahead and get the Sea Gear from Fennel, which is pretty much just pointless. And then, as soon as I'm done with that, I go behind this building here and get a Dusk Ball. This Dusk Ball is going to give us a near guaranteed catch when we catch our Woobat later for Fly. Plus in the mart here, I go ahead and buy 3 antidotes, 3 paralyze heals, 11 repels, and 7 super potions. This is pretty much all I really need. You may notice I didn't heal at the center. Shadow Stitch, who I did the Swords of Justice races with, he told me you can just go into the daycare, talk to this person, and heal up, and it's straight up more efficient to just heal there. So I'm going to try and start doing that in my runs from now on. And also, little fun fact, these twins here actually will not let you progress unless you have a second Pokemon. So this is pretty much the only double battle where you're forced to actually do it. All the other sets of twins later do not act like this. Anyway, Charon's completely destroyed, and I clear out Team Plasma in the Wellspring Cave. And now this is the point where we need to catch a Woobat for Fly and a Roggenrola for Strength. Plus, another thing I need to do is actually catch duplicates of them, because I need to make sure I have a full party, so that way at the end of the game when I catch Reshiram, it will not be forced into slot 1 of my party. In a solo run challenge, I don't want to have Reshiram in slot 1, so I actually mandate myself to have a full party. Fortunately, the first Roggenrola is easy because Roggenrola can only ever have Sturdy in the wild, so I can guarantee get it to 1 HP and make it very easy to catch. Then immediately after, I find the Woobat, which will have a roughly 97% chance with a Dusk Ball, although I used a Great Ball on it by mistake, but oh well, it worked anyway. And now with a Woobat and a Roggenrola, I need to go ahead and catch a couple more Pokemon. So on the next Woobat, I actually go ahead and use my pokeballs first. I should not have done that, I should have used the Dusk Ball. Fortunately, I remember to, and as soon as I used it, it actually broke out. That is a roughly 97% catch rate in a cave on a Woobat. The fact that it broke out is insane to me. And I end up running out of Pokeballs to catch stuff, so I end up just having to leave and catch more Pokemon later. But on the bright side, Bianca here does give you heal balls. Well, I guess not Bianca, the little girl does. But that's fine though, I can use the heal balls to catch some more Pokemon. And I am able to use a heal ball to catch a Pidove in this grass right here. Although you don't really want to be attempting to catch Pokemon in the dark grass. 1, because they're a higher level, and 2, there's a chance of double battles. But fortunately, I am able to find a Lillipup. The first heal ball fails, and then look at this. I get the Lillipup down to yellow health, and it actually broke out of the heal ball. I literally got so unlucky with the catches today. I think later in the week in my Discord server when I do my weekly re-ranks, I should probably re-rank Seismitoad. This thing got extremely unlucky with catching things, and it's definitely suffered in time just because of that fact. But anyway, now we're in Nacrene City. The first thing I'm going to do is actually go over to the Pinwheel exterior, and I go ahead and knock out this nurse right here with the Muna, so that way she can heal me for free. You may wonder, why not just heal at the center? Well, before I go into the forest, I want to be able to heal again and not go to the center. So now, with that stuff done, I go inside this building right here and tell this girl I picked Oshawott. Yeah, I definitely picked Oshawott. And anyway, this gives me the Mystic Water. This will boost my water moves by 20%. And now I'm going to go into the center and deposit all of my extra Pokemon. And I'm not going to withdraw them for quite a while, because in the Pinwheel Forest there is another set of twins. However though, they will not actually force you to fight them. And I don't need to withdraw my HM users till Nimbasa City, because Gen 5 really does not mandate a lot of HMs. In fact, if you have Cut, you can actually only use it 1 time, and you never need to use HMs ever again, not counting Fly. Technically, you can do a minimum HM run. It's actually entirely possible in this game. You only have to use Cut 1 time for just all the mandatory stuff. Anyway, I've been kind of rambling throughout Nacrene City. Why don't we go get back into some action? Let's go take on the second gym leader, Lenora, and the world's strongest Watchog. She leads off with her Herdier, which gets off an Intimidate, but it doesn't really matter for me. Bubble Beam is able to two-shot, and all it does is use a single Leer. And I do get the chance to learn Aqua Ring, but I refuse. Then on the Watchog, I go ahead and use Bubble Beam to deal half, and then the Watchog hits me with Retaliate, and it actually gets a critical hit, knocking me out in a single hit. Well, there's my first reset. On the next attempt though, I can definitely show off that that was a fluke win, because look at this, the Watchog used Retaliate on me again, and it did less than half, almost half. So that crit was the only way she could have won. I mean, she couldn't even use Hypnosis because I actually equipped a Chesto Berry before doing this. And now with 2 gym badges, I can talk to this nurse again and heal, go through the Pinwheel Forest, go over the Sky Arrow Bridge, and now we are in Castalia City. Before I do anything crazy like challenge the bug-type gym leader Berg, I actually go into the battle company and fight all of the trainers in here. I was actually kind of surprised with how many trainers are in here. The reason I'm not going to take on Berg right away is because his ace is Levani, a bug and grass type, and it has Razor Leaf. So I definitely want to make sure I'm prepared for this fight. And with the battle company cleared out, I am level 26. And then, after doing all the trainers in Berg's gym, I am level 28 over a damage rounding threshold, and now I feel confident and ready to take on Berg. Berg leads off with his Whirlipede. I go ahead and use Muddy Water to one-shot it. Then on the Levani, I go ahead and use Uproar, and I fortunately survive a Razor Leaf, and then Uproar is able to get the 2-shot. The reason I needed level 28 for this fight is because level 28 is the earliest where Uproar has a chance to 2-shot, and I was fortunate enough to get it on the very first try. Alright, so that's one of our major obstacles cleared, and I can definitely tell you the next few gyms are going to be absolutely easy. We're immune to electric moves from Elisa, we have water moves for Clay. Skyla is pretty much the lost pilot because of how bad her team is in this game. And then there's the lost actor Bryson. His team is just absolute garbage. So I actually feel pretty confident with my chances here, although there will be some hard fights later. I go ahead and defeat Bianca and Charon just outside Castalia and make my way to Nimbasa City. I go ahead and get myself the bicycle here, and then I can also defeat N in front of the Ferris wheel. It's usually a good idea to make sure your HM users are deposited before you do this fight because the Sigilyph does have Whirlwind. And fortunately, I do remember not to withdraw my HM users just yet, so he ends up going just fine. And now, with N defeated, we have full access to the gym. So let's go see how quickly we can destroy Elisa. Her first Emolga is a one-shot, the second one is a two-shot, so it looks like it's definitely a range, but after her spamming tons of Hyper Potions, I am able to eventually one-shot. Then on the Substrika, I go ahead and use Mud Shot. I miss once, I miss twice, I miss a third time, and I finally land it and defeat it. Mud Shot is a 95 accurate move, and the fact I missed it 3 times in a row, that is just absolutely insane. And if my math is correct, Mudshot has a 1 in 20 chance of missing, and the fact I got 3 in a row is roughly 1 in 8,000 chance, because none of her Pokemon have Double Team or Sand Attack or anything like that. So that was just insane, but it's not like it even mattered, all that really did was waste time. And then inside the musical building right here, I can talk to this girl and get the TM for Echoed Voice. This is kind of a weird move. It has only 40 base power, but its damage goes up each time you use it. So it's kind of like holding a metronome, but better. So this will actually give us some ranges later. And just before I leave the city, I go into this building to get the HM for strength, and now I'm going to withdraw all of my Pokemon. The reason I'm withdrawing them is because on Route 16 there's a rare candy I need to get, and it's locked behind Cut. Plus, since Professor Juniper gave me 10 Ultra Balls before I entered Nimbasa for the first time, I can just go ahead and catch another Pokemon here, and I end up just catching a Gothita. Yeah, I still need to redo this at some point, because my luck with catching the Pokemon's been really bad. But you know what's funny? I just Quick Ball the Gothita. My favorite Pokeball, can't you tell? Nothing eventful happens on Route 5, and now we are in Driftfell City. I go ahead and get the Expert Belt and some Moo Moo Milks. I don't really end up using the Expert Belt, I just like getting it just in case. And now inside the cold storage, I can do the ice puzzle in a different pathing, and I can get the TM for Scald. Scald is a really good move. It's slightly weaker than Surf, but it has more power points, and it has a chance to burn the opponent, which is definitely a very useful move. I know a lot of people in competitive really like using this Pokemon. And now, we need to continue our winning streak with the gym leaders and go take on the ground type master, Clay. Clay leads off with his Krokorok. I go ahead and one-shot it with Scald before it can use Torment. Then the Palpitoad is almost a one-shot because it is part water type, but my second Scald burns it, so it's sort of a one-shot. Then on the Escadrille, Scald one-shots it, and all it did was just set up Hone Claws. So yeah, Clay, absolutely easy, just as expected. Plus, with Clay defeated, outside of the Chargestone Cave, I get the TM for Bulldoze. The reason I'm pointing this out is because there's actually going to be one use later into the game where I absolutely need Bulldoze. It's slightly better than Mudshot, but we don't really need ground coverage until near the end of the game. So I just want to let you know I did get this TM. And now, inside of Chargestone Cave, Professor Juniper gives me the Lucky Egg. This is going to help me get a ton of levels in the late game. And trust me, they're going to be absolutely needed. While I'm fighting all the Team Plasma Grunts in Chargestone Cave, I do make a slight detour and get a rare candy that's right here. And after that, I completely destroy N, and now we are in Mistralton City. We are just rushing through this game at this point. Before we can take on Skyla though, we have to go to the Celestic Tower. There are not that many mandatory fights here because on the 3rd and 4th floors, the spinners here don't really function properly. You can use B to actually force them to move, and it's actually kind of insane how broken that is because most of the trainers that should be mandatory are in fact completely optional. This does not work in Black 2 and White 2 though, but that's fine because in those games this place is optional. And now, at the very top, I go ahead and ring the bell, which is what you all should totally do, by the way. And then I teach my Woobat Fly, and before I go fight Skyla, I go out of the way to get some rare candies. In Route 2, just to the west of Accumula Town, I go ahead and push the boulder here and get a rare candy. This is actually the only use for strength in this game, at least for a solo run perspective. It's literally just to get that rare candy. Then I go ahead and fly to Nacrene City, and then I go ahead and go get the rare candy here. The rare candy here is actually very easy to get. There are 2 mandatory trainers blocking it though, but that's actually fine though because I fought them a lot earlier in the run where the XP actually mattered. Plus, you actually don't need Surf to get this rare candy. And the last rare candy I get for now is the one in Anvil Town. I wait till I get Fly first just because this would take forever to backtrack if I didn't. And with some of the rare candies so far obtained, we can go ahead and take on the 6th gym leader, Skyla, the Lost Pilot. The reason I call her the Lost Pilot in this game is because of how bad her team is. She leads off with a Swoobat. I go ahead and use Echoed Voice. It's not doing too much, but as I keep using it, it will start doing more and more damage. The reason I'm using Echoed Voice instead of something like Scald or Surf is because 1, I don't have Surf yet, and 2, Echoed Voice chaining is the only way to knock out the Swanna. And I will admit though, if it weren't for Echoed Voice, this fight would be sort of annoying. But that's fine though. I go ahead and get my Jet Badge real easy. And now we are able to head to Twist Mountain to get to Icarus, but before I do that, I need to take on Charon here. And this is actually one of the more difficult fights. Let me show off why. You notice I'm using Echoed Voice on the Unpheasant. I need to be able to one-shot the Simisage, otherwise Seed Bomb will. And that actually happened on the first attempt because I got a low roll with Echoed Voice. So that's my first reset since Lenora. On the next attempt, I actually used 1 rare candy to get to level 45. I was trying to see if a damage rounding threshold would have been enough. It still did not one-shot the Simisage, but I actually survived a Seed Bomb. But it doesn't matter because the Liepard has Fake Out. So there is my 3rd reset in the entire run and the 2nd one on Charon. Still no blackouts though at least. However though, third try is the charm, and Simisage is actually a one-shot with Hyper Voice. I will say though, if Cheren was using the Superior team, Cheren's Superior is actually one of the fastest Pokemon in this game, and I should be glad I'm not facing it in this run, but it would definitely be scary if it was. But still, Simisage is quite strong. And now, as I go through Twist Mountain, it is winter, so I can get through this place a lot quicker. I can actually get this rare candy that is exclusive to the winter time. And then I can also get the TM for Substitute. This is also a winter exclusive item. It's definitely very good to play this game in the winter just because of all the good loot you can get. Plus, in Icarus City itself, there is another winter exclusive rare candy. So yeah, playing in the winter gets you 2 rare candies and Substitute. Really good trade. And now, we have to go take on the 7th gym leader, Bryson, the Lost Actor. Drain Punch is a one-shot on the Vanillish, Drain Punch is a one-shot, or no, it's a 2-shot on the Beartic, and it actually hit me with Swagger. But that's fine though, I break out of confusion and defeat it, and the Cryogonal is a one-shot as well. Well, the Lost Actor definitely tried, but he is still utterly pathetic. And now we are at the point where we have to do a lot of Team Plasma fighting. We gotta clear out Team Plasma in the Dragon Spiral Tower, as well as the Relic Castle. I'm going to skip over most of this, but I do want to mention I do talk to this backpacker here, and I get myself a fossil. We're actually going to be using Fling on Chantal in the Elite Four, and if you hold on to a fossil, Fling becomes a one-time 100 power dark type move. So this will definitely be needed later. Just wanted to let you know I did get it. And now that Team Plasma is cleared out for the time being, on Route 8, I can actually get the TM for Sludge Bomb, which is actually going to be a really useful move for the Dragon type gym because water is not going to cut it. And before we can do that though, I have to clear out the final fight against Bianca. Bianca can be hard sometimes with her Musharna, but fortunately she doesn't really provide any problems today. And here, you can definitely see Sludge Bomb in action. It's pretty much my best move to take on a lot of these dragons, but the problem is the fractures are not one-shots. And looking at this run now, I remember I told Shadow Stitch some of my planning for this. He said it would have been a much better idea to just purchase Return and never even teach Sludge Bomb, because our attack is better and we can start one-shotting a lot of things. And I did mention my concerns with Rough Skin from the Drudigan, and the fact that one of the trainers here has a Drudigan that knows Revenge, which is definitely very scary. But I still think overall in the end, Return is definitely the better option for this fight. So yeah, I definitely will remember that when I do my re-rank at some point. But anyway, we don't get any other problems in the gym, but let's go take on Drayden. He leads off with Fracture. I'm going to start off a chain of Echo Voices. I 2-shot the Fracture, and then next up is the Drudigan. Echoed Voice is going to 2-shot it as well, fortunately not activating Rough Skin. Then on the Haxorus, it actually is a one-shot with a +5 boosted Echo Voice. So yeah, this fight was effectively free. And now we are on our way to the league with only 3 resets. Besides all the bad luck I've been having with catching Pokemon, and the slightly unoptimal gym for trainers inside this gym, I actually ended up doing pretty dang good. Plus, even though the last Cheren fight was really bad, this one ends up being easy. Actually, I do want to point this out, there actually is one mandatory use for Sludge Bomb. The mandatory trainer here with Whimsicott, if I can't one-shot it, it would probably one-shot me with whatever grass move it has. Plus, I do get my final rare candy here. And now we are at the Pokemon League. I go ahead and heal at the center by some full restores, and now I'm ready to take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. I actually have a complete moveset overhaul before I take on Grimsley. My moveset is now Surf, Drain Punch, Substitute, and Fling. And Substitute is really good for Grimsley because it blocks his Scrafty from using Sand Attack. And now it's been 2-shot with Surf, the Crocodile is a 1-shot with Surf, And then the Bisharp can be a one-shot with Drain Punch, so that way I can gain all of my health back as well. Also, I did use all my rare candies before this, so that's why I'm a higher level. Next up is the Fighting type Elite Four member, Marshall. Marshall leads off with his throw. I go ahead and use Substitute to block any speed drops with Bulldoze or Rock Tomb, and I can go ahead and two-shot the throw with Surf, although he does end up using a couple of full restores to just stall the fight, and that ends up being a problem later. Then on the Sock, I go ahead and use 2 Drain Punches because he does have Sturdy, and then the Conkeldurr is almost a one-shot with Surf, but not quite. Then I'm able to take out the Mienshao in one hit as well. Alright, we're doing pretty dang good, I'd say. Next up is the Ghost type Elite Four member, Chantal. I go ahead and use Substitute to block any potential Will-O-Wisps from the Cofagrigus, but it does end up breaking my Substitute because it never went for Will-O-Wisp. Quite strange. The AI normally can't predict what move you're using. Anyway, it's not a big deal though. Then on the Jellicent, I go ahead and fling my Fossil, and I'm able to knock it out in one hit. Then Surf one-shots the Golurk and the Chandelure. Next up is the Psychic type Elite Four member, Caitlyn. It was at this moment I realized I'm kind of screwed, because I only have one Surf left, and just a bunch of Drain Punches, and Fling can only be used once. I'm actually out of PP restoring items. I somehow didn't pick up enough throughout this playthrough, and after realizing this, I have no choice but to actually black out on Caitlyn and have to actually start the entire league over again. I've definitely been using far too many Surfs throughout the league, but if I had just packed an extra Elixir or something, I would have been fine. So yeah, this gives this run even more justification to be re-ranked, because this is just entirely player error. It really hurts to watch. However though, after that very long blackout, I am able to get back to Caitlyn, and with Surfs in hand, I can actually completely destroy her team. So yeah, this is how the fight should have gone. But I can guarantee you next time I replay this, I can probably get close to 0 resets or blackouts, because this thing is really good outside of some grass types. And with the Elite Four defeated, we now need to take on N and Ghetsis. I don't get the rare candy in N's room because I just don't really need it. And then I can Master Ball the Reshiram, send it to the PC, and now we can go take on the final battle with N. Just before I started this fight, I did re-equip the Mystic Water, so now I can be fine for this battle. He leads off with his Zekrom, and remember when I said I needed Bulldoze? The Zekrom was what it was for, and normally on turn 1 his AI will always use Fusion Bolt or Fusion Flare, but since I'm immune, he actually just uses Light Screen. Fine by me, I'm mainly using physical moves right now. And I can go ahead and defeat the Kling Clang with Drain Punch, the Vanillix with Drain Punch, and then when that's defeated, the Light Screen does wear off, but half of his team is weak to fighting, so I just continue spamming the thing. Then on the Caracosta, I use Surf, it activates Sturdy, and Caracosta does not know about Water Absorb, and it ends up activating. Nice. Completely damageless end fight. Nice. However though, we still need to defeat Ghetsis. Let's end this run. I used to just hold a Pecha Berry for this fight, but with the ability to have Substitute, there's really not a need for it. I can just block any uses of Toxic and defeat the Cofagrigus. Then the Bouffalant I'll need a 2-shot with Drain Punch, but its Head Smash does break my Substitute. Then on the Hydreigon, it is going to be a 2-shot as well, but Dragon Pulse didn't really do too much damage. I get to level 72, and now it's a mirror match against Seismitoad. Surf is going to be a 2-shot though. That's fine though. Then on the Bisharp, I used Surf by accident. I meant to use Drain Punch, but oh well. And then the Electros is going to be a 2-shot with Surf, and Ghetsis is defeated, and we clock in. with a real time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 57 seconds. Hey, at least I got sub 130. With 3 resets and 1 blackout at level 72, with a game time after the credits of 4 hours and 34 minutes. So yeah, this run definitely was not played that good. I did get some bad luck during the mid game, especially with all the resets on Charon and the one very, very bad blackout in the league. But I'll need to remember to get more PP restoring items next time. But let's just see how our first playthrough ranks on the leaderboard. We actually end up getting 10th place overall on the leaderboard out of 15 Pokemon I have played so far. We ended up doing better than Cobalion and Virizion, which makes sense. Virizion really did not handle Gen 5 that good. Cobalion's moveset just isn't that good, and Keldeo did finish around 5.5 minutes ahead of it. But honestly, I think even if Seismitoad gets its re-rank, I don't think it's going to be Keldeo, because Keldeo started off with some pretty good moves. But still, 10th place overall. I respect that. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to these videos early, and access to the patch files for the backboards we do on stream. Anyway, for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll be doing Pokemon Black live with a random Pokemon, and then on Friday, we'll play the game with Conkeldurr. I kind of use Seismitoad and Conkeldurr as like a duo just because they can be found on the same route in the Pinwheel Forest exterior. But anyway, I will see you all in the next video.